Mutagen Man was a human teenager from the TV series.
A vigilante
he first appears in the episode The Pulverizer.
Who got inspired after
His
seeing
real
the
name
Turtles
is
fight
Timothy.
against Baxter Stockman.
In the episode Pulverizer Returns,
the Turtles
he
had
became
to save
Mutagen
him
Man.
and accidentally dragged
In
him into
Mutagen
their
Man
lair.
Unleashed, he
While
was
they
frozen
fought
by
against the
Donatello.
Crane, Timothy stayed
The
at the lair,
Pulverizer,
where
months
Donatello
after
tried
seeing
to
them for
train
the
him
first
without
time,
success.
the Pulverizer meets the Turtles in person. When he attempts to stop the purple dragons, he is quickly outmatched and the Turtles come to his rescue.
After seeing the results,
They succeed
Splinter
in
warned
saving his
Donnie
life,
that training
but his
him would
attempts
make
to
him
help
his
them fight results in the
responsibility.
gang escaping with their stolen loot.
After only making
The
things
Turtles
worse
try
in
to
battle,
ditch the
Donnie
Pulverizer,
decided to
but the
stop
tails of
training
his
him.
mask get caught in the door of the Shell
Desperate
Razor
to
as
get
they drive
proper
away.
training, Timothy
They
joined the
unwittingly drive
Bradford
him
Dojo,
back to the lair,
where
but
he was
fortunately
recruited
for
to
them,
the Foot
he
Clan
blacked
as
out
cannon
most of the way
fodder.
and didn't see how they got there.
After discovering
Still
this,
oblivious
the
to the
Turtles
fact
warned
that the
him about
Turtles
it
are
and told him
mutants,
to quit,
as well as the
but
fact
Timothy
that they don't
somehow
want him in their lair,
misinterpreted this
the
as them asking
Pulverizer
him
quickly
to become
becomes
their
a
spy.
nuisance. He does,
Pulverizer
however,
sent them a
give them
tip
a
about
clue
the
as to
Foot's
what
plans.
the purple dragons
They were
stole and
stealing
why.
mutagen to create a mutant
However,
army.
they leave
Seeing
the
how useful
Pulverizer
Timothy
behind
was
with
being,
Donnie.
the Turtles allowed
After
him to
trying
put
to
his
ignore
life
him
at
for a
risk
while,
further,
Donnie
despite
tries to
Donnie's
teach
warnings.
the overeager and overweight hero wannabe
After
some
learning
basic
the clan was
self-defense
going
moves
to
with little
mutate only
success.
one person,
In the
Timothy
middle of the
offered
training after the
himself,
Donnie teaches
assuming
him
the
how to knock
mutation
people
would have
over,
made him
where he
equal to the
fails
Turtles,
horribly,
allowing
Mikey
him to
calls
join
and tells
them
him
in their
about the situation
adventures.
with Raph.
Despite
Donnie
the
asks the
intervention of the
Pulverizer
Turtles,
to drive the Shell
Timothy
Razor
bathed
while he makes an
himself in
antidote
this
for fish
unstable
face venom.
mutagen. And perhaps
Before they
because
reach
he
the
wasn't
building,
in
they
contact
reach a
with any
roadblock,
animals
which Donnie
before
forces him
this,
to jump.
he was turned into
When
a
the
giant
Krons stole
blob
the power cell,
monstrosity.
Pulverizer tried to
In
help
this
out the
form,
Turtles,
the Turtles
but failed
had no
miserably.
choice but to contain him
Donnie had
inside
to
a
help him,
canister,
and missed his
they took
chance
him
to
to
get the
Donnie's
power
lab,
cell.
where he would spend the
In
rest
the end,
of his
Pulverizer
days.
promised to get better and hoped
It
to
was
see the
unclear
Turtles
if
again.
Timothy had a family
The
that could
Turtles
be
see a
looking
ninja
for him.
trying to break into the
Donatello was all
TCRI
he
building.
had from then on.
When they go down to stop
But
him,
Donatello
they
had other
discover that the
problems
ninja
on
is
his
in fact
mind.
just the
After
Pulverizer
April's
in a
father
Foot Clan
was
uniform.
mutated into a bat, she
Pulverizer
decided
tells
to
the
stay
Turtles
away
that
from
Foot
the
hired
Turtles
him to
for a
draw
while,
all the fire
and with
away
the
from other Foot
introduction of
soldiers.
Casey Jones into her
He
life,
later decides
Donnie
to be a
started
spy for
feeling
the Turtles to get
devastated about
information
losing
for them.
his crush.
He managed to let them
He
know
kept
that
talking
Shredder was
on and
using
on about
mutagen
April
to build an
Timothy,
army.
who eventually
Later, when
fell in
Shredder
love
was
with
testing
this
the mutagen,
idealized version of
Pulverizer,
April.
real name Timothy, decided
Donnie
to
was
volunteer
working
so
with
he could
some
help out the
mutagen to
Turtles,
find a
but
way
the
to
Turtles
revert
knew the
April's
results were
father's
dangerous and
mutation.
set out to rescue
Timothy
him.
ate this mutagen,
Donnie tried to
and
help
this
him
gave
and
him
warn
more
him the dangers of the
abilities.
mutagen, but with the
He
foot,
created
fish
arms
face,
and legs
dog
for
pound
himself
surrounding them.
and escaped the lair
Pulverizer
to
wanted to
find
help and
April.
poured mutagen all over himself. However, he learned how deadly it was as he began to feel a burning pain from the mutagen, thus mutating into a 6-foot-tall living blob of mutagen with exposed organs. When mutating into Mutagen Man, from pouring mutagen on himself, Timothy lost control of himself and went on a rampage. Dog Pound set a bomb and took Fish Face and the foot soldiers and fled the warehouse, locking Mutagen Man and the Turtles in as the countdown started. Mutagen Man was still on the rampage, but the Turtles managed to calm him down for a brief moment. The young mutant then saw in a reflection the monster he had become and then lost control again. Eventually Donnie managed to come up with a plan that would trap him in a glass container, and then he and his brothers drove out of the warehouse on the stealth bike just before the warehouse exploded.
Starts off as a regular human named
The
Timothy.
mutated Pulverizer
He
was
happened
last
to see
seen
the
at
Ninja
Turtles'
Turtles
lair,
fighting on a
where Donnie
rooftop
promises him
and
to
felt
somehow
inspired
find a
to
way
fight
to
crime
reverse the
himself.
process and get him
Timothy
back to a
creates a
human.
little fake superhero
As a human,
costume and
Timothy had
persona
brown hair,
to try and
brown
tag
eyes,
along
was
with the
overweight,
Turtles.
and around Donnie to
Unfortunately,
Leo's height
he's
and
not
had
a cool
skimpy legs,
vigilante
despite
like
his
Casey
size.
Jones. Timothy
He wore a
starts calling
costume based
himself
on
the
the Turtles, covering
Pulverizer,
from head to
dressing
toe,
up like a
except for his
knockoff
face,
Ninja Turtle.
with a belt
He
that had the
reminds me
letter
of
P
someone
on
in
it,
the Crooked
similar
Turtle
to the
gang. He
1987
starts
style,
following the
and wore
Turtles
a red
around like
mask.
Zack the Fifth Turtle,
He wore a
and
foot
really only
uniform
gets
when
in
he
the
was in
way.
the Foot Clan.
Timothy, the
As
Pulverizer,
Mutagen Man,
is delusional,
Timothy is a
and
green
decides
blob
that dousing
from touching the
himself in
mutagen
ooze
with
is a
2
good
long
idea.
tentacle arms.
Needless to say,
His
he
brain
just
and
turns
vital
into a
organs
pile
are
of
visible in
goo
his body.
and organs, and
His
seems to
eyes
devolve
and
into
mouth
an
can be
angry
extendable.
feral monster.
He was
Mutagen
originally
Man.
trapped
The
in a
Turtles
mutagen
trap him
container
in a
stashed in
giant
Donnie's
container,
lab,
which
but in
essentially
Mutagen
becomes
Man
his
Unleashed,
body,
he kept
and
drinking
they feel
mutagen while Donnie
responsible
tried
for
to
his
find a cure
regrettable
for April's
mutation.
dad.
Donatello
eventually
vows
mutated
to
him
help him
further and allowed
transform
him to
back
grow
into a
powerful
human,
acidic arms
and they move
legs
his
and the
container
ability
into
to
the
regenerate.
turtle's lair.
But now he can't move at all unless he has mutagen inside of
One
him.
day I'll turn you
He is
back.
currently frozen by an unstable type of
Timothy, or
mutagen.
Mutagen Man,
The
is kind of
Pulverizer
just a
is the
static
Turtles' first
fixture in
ever
the
fanboy
background
and a
for a
wannabe
bit.
superhero.
He's just in limbo until
He
Donnie
first
can
saw them
figure
when
out
they
how to
fought
mutate
Baxter
him back.
Stockman on the roof
In the
near his
meantime,
apartment, and I think
Donatello
his name
creates
is
a
Baxter
voice box
Stockman.
for him so he can
Thinking the
communicate.
turtles were
I love the way
fighters
this
in turtle
distorted
costumes,
voice box
he decided
sounds.
to become one himself. Making his own turtle costume and calling himself the Pulverizer,
Donnie
he
spends
set
a
out
lot
to
of
become a
time
hero.
talking to Timothy the
However,
Pulverizer
he does
about
not have
April,
any fighting
and
skills
Timothy
at all.
develops a sort of
He
crush on
doesn't
April
understand
too.
the time and commitment needed
One
to
day,
become a hero
Donnie
or a
leaves
ninja.
some ooze on the counter,
He is
and
looking for the
Timothy
fast track
foolishly
to be a
decides
hero
that
now.
dousing himself in
He
mutagen
pads his
again
costume to
is a good
simulate muscle
idea.
as it is
Of course,
faster than
it
working
goes
out.
poorly, and
He
Mutagen
is
Man
under the
changes
delusion
into
that
a
a costume
frightening,
and witty
angry
banter is
monster.
all it takes to be a hero,
Mutagen
but
Man
is sorely
tears up the
mistaken.
city for a
Emphasis on
while,
the sorely
until the
part.
turtles can stop him.
He is overweight,
Donatello
lazy,
feels horrible,
arrogant,
and
impatient,
promises
and
to help him
undisciplined.
transform back into a
All in
human
all, a
someday.
typical teenager.
I'm sorry, Timothy.
Despite his flaws,
Don't worry, my
Pulverizer
friend.
/ Timothy has a good heart
One
and has good
day,
intentions, but his rash
I'll
attitude
find a
always
cure.
gets him into
The
trouble.
turtles feel terrible
When he was
about
turned
all the
into a
innocent
mutant,
people
Timothy
that have been
became
turned into
violent,
mutants
feral,
because of
and
that.
mindless.
Donnie feels so
He would
guilty and
randomly
really
lash
wants
out
to
at
do the
people
right
trying to
thing by
either get
changing
help
him
or
back.
out of a lack of
But
control.
does Donnie ever
But
change
was
him
able
back?
to be calmed down
Does
by
Timothy
Donnie,
turn
who
into a
promised to
human
turn him
again?
back into a human
This
one
is how
day.
most Turtles fans
But
feel
then
like
one day
Timothy the
Pulverizer
Mutagen
drank
Man
some
story
ooze and
ends,
grew arms and
unresolved.
legs and went on a
But
violent
sadly,
rampage to
his
find
story
April
does
until
get
he was
resolved
frozen
in
by
a
Donnie.
tragic way.
He
In the
hates the
season
turtles
5
because he
episode
blames them for turning him
Carmageddon,
into
which
a
takes
mutant
place
blob
in the
in a
future,
tank, despite the
a
fact it's
grown-up
his
and
fault and
grizzled
not the
Raphael
turtles.
is forced to fight in some
Overly
sort of
excitable,
dystopian
clumsy, and a
fight
big
club,
dreamer,
and he
the
gets beat
Pulverizer
up
doesn't
hard.
seem that bright or
The
fit to
fighting
be a
area
ninja
is
or
surrounded
crime
by
fighter,
filthy
to the
water,
point where even
and
Splinter said he was a doofus. He's determined to be a superhero, but his lack of patience, poor physical shape and naive worldview makes him more of a hindrance than anything else. The Pulverizer is overall oblivious to the ways of the ninja and is easily defeated by almost every opponent he faces, yet he stays optimistic in the faith that he is a great warrior. In The Pulverizer Returns, he was working alongside the Foot Clan. However, it is implied that they too thought he was worthless, and that they only intended to use him for an experiment. Ultimately, believing that the highly dangerous, painful and unpredictable mutagen would transform him into a mutant superhero, despite the explicit warnings from Donatello, proved to be his undoing. After the trauma of his mutation, he became even less intelligent than he already was, and his demeanor devolved into becoming more feral and aggressive. However, he did momentarily seem to possess enough presence of mind to comprehend what happened to him after seeing his reflection, and could apparently recognize his own name. After being contained, he seemed pretty mindless. In Mutagen Man Unleashed, he regains a small amount of intelligence, Donatello referring to him as a barely sentient glob of intestinal goo. After he grew some limbs from drinking mutagen, he became quite deranged and out of touch from reality. He also gained speech from the speaker Donnie built for him. Whether out of loneliness or the mutagen's effect, Donnie's talks, or rants, about April made him see a kindred spirit in April. He apparently blames the turtles for what happened to him, and saw that April was the closest thing he could have to as a friend. As the Pulverizer, he was an incredibly bad fighter, and the Foot Clan only found him useful for being a distraction of enemies. As Mutagen Man, he gained a lot more powers, including super strength, actually able to take on the turtles in a fight, regenerative powers, able to regrow a severed hand a few moments after it was cut off, as well as acid leaking out of holes in his palms and fingers. The acid also shot out like blood after his hand was cut off. It is shown that he can use his mouth and throat like a tentacle outside of the glass cabin, carrying his organs, able to eat and swallow mutagen, as well as lifting an opponent in battle. However, contrasting his new gained superpowers, his mutation also resulting in him suffering from a serious weakness, his addiction to mutagen, in order to maintain the use of his limbs, otherwise they shrivel up and weaken greatly. Because of this, Donatello realized a way to defeat Mutagen Man. By using a certain chemical reaction in a mutagen canister, he successfully caused the mutant to freeze up entirely after ingesting it.